Hey guys, so in today's video I'm actually going to be doing a breakdown of the power antenna that goes to my 96 Acura Integra. I'm just gonna tear it down and see what's inside, so let's get to it. Okay, so let's kind of first identify some parts. Here we have a water drain tube, and that's for when water gets into this part of the antenna assembly. It just comes out and then drains out through the bottom of the car. Here we have the antenna motor. We have power, ground, and remote cable going to this plug here. Here's where your actual antenna plugs into. And then this is the housing for the thing that lets your antenna go up and down. It's what pushes it up and down. It coils up in this little housing. So let's first take off this water drain tube, and then we'll start taking off the cover to this plate. Alright, got the tube off. Now for the plate. I'm going to pull out this little protective ring here. It's a little plastic ring. And there you go. Here's the sort of gear thing I was talking about. This is what pushes your antenna up and down through the assembly. So next it looks like we have a little bit of circuitry. I'm not totally sure what this is, but I guess let's take off the screw and figure it out. So that's held in there by wires. I don't think I'm going to be able to remove that until I open up the back side. Alright, so as you can see here, this is kind of the whole gear assembly. The motor comes down. You can see the sort of crankshaft, drive shaft sort of thing coming out of there. It goes to this gear, and that moves this gear, moves this one, and basically what happens here is it rotates against the this little plastic piece and pushes it up and down. It looks pretty complicated, but I'm going to see if I can keep tearing it down and figure out what's going on. I'm going to remove these two screws and see if I can't lift up this plate. There we go. Interesting. So I actually have zero idea what's going on here. I might look it up and add it into the video if I do find some information. But it looks like we have the power and the ground and then the remote wire all going to this sort of metal gear. I don't and then it's on this metal plate. So I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I'm going to cut the wires, and I'm going to take this out of here so then I can pull the black box out on the other side. Very interesting to find what looks like almost a heat shrink connector inside here. I'm kind of curious as to why they just didn't run one solid blue wire, whatever that may be for, because I don't really know. Alright, so I think I figured out what this black box does. What happens is the power, ground, and remote wire go into it. I don't know if you can see the wires going in there. And then what happens is it splits that up. So you have power and ground. It looks like coming out to whatever plate I have here. I don't know what this is or what this does. But then you also have a power, this blue wire, and a ground. There's a gray wire coming from somewhere. Anyways, that gray wire also goes to the motor. So you have a power and ground going to the motor, and then a power and ground going somewhere else, and the remote wire simply just tells this black box it's time to turn on. Right, so there we go. I got the wiring harness, if you will, removed. black box, the circuit board right there. I guess that must be a part number, made in Japan. Again, I'm not totally sure what's on the inside of this box. I don't think I'm going to take it apart, just because I don't know how safe it is. I'm sure it's probably just a couple of resistors, capacitors, etc. But yeah. Okay, so now that we got a lot of the wiring out of there, I'm going to see if I can't take these gears apart and kind of clean out this little housing. And then once we get through that, I'll probably take off this antenna tube, and then we'll get to the motor itself. So I'm just going to try and pry these gears out of here. So the gears come out pretty easily, a lot of grease on them, and this guy right here is actually one entire piece. Interesting. So this large gear here, on top is plastic and on the bottom is metal, and this is what actually sat right here. And if you look close, you can see right here is the little plastic part that moves the antenna up and down. So when this was sitting in here, this metal gear was running against that on the teeth and moving it in and out. The teeth on here look a little bit worn. I'm going to see if I can take this a little bit further apart. So upon second review, or whatever you want to call it, I don't think I'm going to take this apart because the spring in here, I don't really know what it's for, but it is super compressed in there. And if I were to take off this little locking pin, nut, whatever sort of thing you call it, this metal piece would fly off and this spring would, I don't know, go somewhere, because it is highly compressed in there. It's very hard for me to compress it. I can barely do it. So I'm just gonna leave this alone. Definitely kind of cool here, and this would be a good thing to grease up or clean up and re-grease if you were to rebuild this. So now that I got most of this taken apart, I guess I can't pull those up. They're just pretty greasy. I'm going to take off this bottom plate, give us a little bit more room, and then I'm going to try and take off this whole antenna part right here. So unfortunately I haven't been able to get this antenna housing out of here. I took out this, what I assume to be sort of like a locking screw, and I can't twist this housing back and forth at all to try and unscrew it out of here. If it is screwed in, I don't even know. I can't pull it out either, so I'm not totally sure how that's in there or if it's just permanently in there. I don't really know. So rather than taking this off, I'm going to just go and try and take this, what I assume to be a 12-volt DC motor. I already got one of these mounting screws off, but the other one, as you can see, is pretty corroded. So I'm going to go outside and hit it with some WD-40 or knockoff brand penetrating oil and see if I can't get that screw to come out of there. Alright, so I couldn't get that screw off right here, so instead I drilled it out a little bit, and then I took a screwdriver, or my friend Dakin did. I put the screwdriver in there, hit it with a hammer, and popped the head off the screw. So that allowed me to pull the whole motor out of there. Now, this motor is really cool. I've never seen the inside of a motor like this before. I hope you can see in there, but you can see the coil way down in there because it's an electric motor. It needs a copper coil, and then these copper plates around here, these little bar things, these little blocks of copper, they actually go on the side of that, and you have a positive and a negative. So it's almost like, I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I don't know how it works. I've never seen really the inside of a motor, an electric motor, but it almost looks like it's AC. maybe I'm completely wrong. I might be, because I don't really know how the inside of an electric motor works, but this and this are both touching these metal plates in here at the same time. That's the positive and the negative. So it's almost like it's an AC alternating current when this spins around. But, you know, I'm sure I'm probably completely off here. It wouldn't make any sense for them to convert from 12 volt DC direct current to 12 volt AC. That makes no sense. So I'm sure it probably is DC. I just don't really know how it works. Interesting. I'm definitely going to be looking this up. It's kind of stumped me. And it would also be cool, maybe I'll take my Sawzall to it to see if I can get inside the actual motor housing and kind of pull this assembly. Oh, wow. Okay. Alright. So here's the actual motor assembly. Wow. That's crazy. So what looks like what's happening here is you've got two giant metal magnets almost on the side, and when you put electricity through here, it makes the copper coil excited per se. It gets the electrons excited and they move around, and I think it pushes electricity through these metal plates, and that reacts against these magnets. I don't know. I'm just kind of pulling stuff out of my butt here, but I really don't know exactly how this works, other than the fact, oh yeah, those are definitely magnets. Other than the fact that this sits down in here, I know that the current goes through here, the electrons get excited, and that causes electricity to be made. But yeah, I'm not really sure how it's expelled through these plates and with the magnets, but definitely very, very cool. This is really cool. I've never seen anything like this. So I'm kind of cleaning up my project, and this black box that I was talking about, the circuit board, I noticed that there was a line here. It was taped around, so I figured if I just took the tape off, I could probably pop the top off, which I did. It's right there. But I was looking at this, and I believe this black box is actually a relay, and I've never seen the inside of a relay either, but what happens is when the relay gets switched on, ignore my fingernails, obviously I've been working in this grimy crap, but when the relay gets switched on, you can see there's like, so there's a metal plate on the bottom, and then there's a piece in the middle, a thing of copper, and then there's metal on top. So what happens when the relay is switched on, let's see if I can focus on it. You can see it at the bottom there, so it's not on, and then electricity goes through it, it pushes that up to the top. So then it is on. When it's off, it goes down to the bottom. When it's on, it goes up to the top like that. Off and on. Now the cool thing about relays, obviously this is a super small relay, but the cool things about it is you can actually hear when it turns on and off, like when those little metal pieces connect, you can hear it click. You can hear them go up and snap into place, which is really cool. This is very, very cool. Huh. Never seen the inside of a relay, but completely makes sense. And also, I'm going under the complete assumption that I'm right here. For all I know, this may not be a relay, but from what I'm seeing, this makes sense. And from what I've read, I would believe this to be a relay. If you guys liked today's sort of little teardown video of the remote power antenna, I know it was kind of a long video and it may be boring to some, but I'm hoping some of you who are a little more kind of tinker friendly really enjoyed it and kind of found it interesting diving into the internals of that power assembly motor, or that antenna power assembly motor. So yeah, definitely two things I really learned that were super cool was about that DC 12 volt motor. It's not AC, don't listen to me in that part. And then this relay, also super cool. I don't know, it amazes me. The person who thought of stuff like that is ingenious. They're so smart. But yeah, if you guys liked today's video, feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. And don't worry, I'm going to be coming out with more Integra build videos soon. I'm waiting on a couple of parts, and yeah. So stay tuned for some more videos. Thanks for watching.